Does the thought of meeting new people, being the center of attention, or having to deal with people in positions of authority make you feel like you just want to throw up? If so, this is the video for you. Today we're going to be talking about how to deal with social anxiety. Hi, I'm Kim Long, and I'm with Docha Psychological Services in Spruce Grove, Alberta. So first thing first, we should clarify what is the difference between social anxiety from a mental health perspective and just shyness or regular nervousness about being embarrassed in front of people. According to the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health, which is a Canadian institution, it says that people with social anxiety will have thoughts like, I'm gonna look stupid, or people aren't gonna like me. So there's a fear around rejection. You'll also notice physical reactions like blushing or sweating or a dry mouth or just even shaking. You'll notice all of these things, and it significantly interferes with your ability to function socially or at work. And I mean, think about it. If you're having those reactions, it's going to result in behaviors where you aren't going to want to go out and do anything. So that makes sense. According to Stats Canada, there's no real cause. They figure that it's like most things. It's a combination of environment as well as biology. The thing about it is they say that most people with social anxiety have experienced it since they were really little, like in fact since they were kids, and most of the time these children, it was written off as if they were just shy, but inside it's paralyzing for them. And as a result, most people don't actually try to get help for their social anxiety, either because it's been written off as shyness or because, and this fits the problem, they're so afraid of being judged or being rejected that they don't even trust a therapist to not judge them. So according to a 2002 Stats Canada study, 8% of the Canadian population aged 15 and older struggle with social anxiety and have had lifelong social anxiety. Now, 8% doesn't sound like a lot of people, but that's over 2 million people struggling with the type of anxiety in social situations that it paralyzes them. It affects their ability to find work. It affects their ability to make friends. And so I'm going to post the article that I'm referencing just for your information because it's really informative in terms of the stats. But I don't think that you're here for the stats. I think you're here for help me out. I need to know what to do about it. So in some of our other videos, we talk about the importance of tackling any kind of issue from the perspective of the three brains: the mind brain, the body brain, and the emotion brain. Today we're going to focus on the mind brain just because otherwise this video would be really, really long. So later we're going to talk in other videos about how to sit with uncomfortable emotions and uncomfortable body sensations. But for today we're going to focus on the thinking brain, and that's the thing that comes up with those thoughts like, I'm going to look stupid, people aren't going to like me, this is going to be horrible. So those thoughts that communicate the fear and try to keep you from doing something. So you're going to need to try to come up with a way to fight those thoughts. And in psychological speak, that's what they call cognitive disputations. And here I'm referencing the work of Martin Seligman, who kind of is the father of a field called positive psychology. It's an off-branch of cognitive behavioral therapy, which is really good for dealing with negative cognitions. So I'm referencing in particular the book Learned Optimism. And so in Learned Optimism, he says that there are 4 ways to fight negative thinking. The first is evidence, then there's alternatives, then there's implications, and then there's, is the thought helpful? So I'm going to go through an example with you and try to walk you through it so that you know what it sounds like. And I'm going to reference, if I'm looking down, I'm referencing my little cheat sheet here for kind of the example. So let's say that I was invited to a friend's house for a little get together. Now, a little get together to me is like 4 to 6 people, and I know them all, and that includes myself. However, to some other people, a small get together would be 15 or more. I don't understand that, but Anyway, I digress. So this friend invites me and I fall back on my go-to, which is, let me get back to you. I need to check to make sure I'm not double booking myself. And this is true. I need to make sure that I'm not double booking myself in terms of work, but it also buys me some time to have my emotional reaction. So I'm checking in with the fact that I feel like I've just had the fear of God put into me and I feel nauseous. I feel that fluttering in the chest. My throat gets really tight. And these sensations are very quickly followed by those thoughts. It's going to be awkward. I don't really know these people. What if I embarrass my friend? I'm such a loser, etc., etc., etc. So here's where I start with the disputations. So remember, this is a mind strategy. So if I use the first one, which is evidence, this is basically trying to find proof that what I'm thinking is correct. So usually our brain is pretty good at twisting things around, so this strategy isn't always effective, but if you follow it along, you'll eventually, hopefully, run out of arguments. So it's a great starting point. So for example, it could go something like, where's my proof that it's going to be awkward? Well, I always feel tense when I first get there. Okay, but then it gets better, right? Yeah, but then I question everything afterwards. But that doesn't mean that it was awkward during, right? Yeah, but, and I hate those yeah buts. It can keep you in that loop for a really long time. However, if you keep looking for the proof of the yeah buts, you'll eventually run out of things to come up with to try to say how horrible it's going to be. So number two is you can then use alternatives. This is what else might explain why things are playing out the way that they are. So for example, what else could have made it awkward? Well, maybe other people are nervous too. Maybe I walked in at a time when something really awkward had just been said. I mean, you know that feeling. Those kinds of things. And I like using that one because sometimes I come up with really silly things that make me laugh, and then the humor makes me feel better. So you got to take those small victories, right? So that one I personally find really helpful. Then there's implications, which is, what is the worst thing that could happen if what I'm thinking is true? So for example, what if I really did make it awkward or embarrassing for my friend? Well, I could lose the friendship. Okay, but then I wouldn't be invited to any more of these awkward situations. Here's the thing. I know that people with social anxiety don't want to be alone, so that would really suck to lose the friendship or not be invited anymore. So where's my proof that I wouldn't be invited anymore? So see how you can like intermingle them. I go back to step one, which is proof, in order to help fight something else that comes up. So you're going to try to use whichever one actually fits the type of thinking that you're having. So then the fourth one, sorry, I lost track there. The fourth one is helpfulness. How helpful is it to think what you're thinking? Now, this one I find a little bit more difficult to use just because it is a little bit like thought stopping, and for anybody that's tried thought stopping, it's not so easy. So how helpful is the thought that it will be awkward or embarrassing? Well, it's not helpful. It's going to keep you from going. It's going to keep you from having a good time. So if you notice that it's not helpful, you're going to try to focus on something more positive, like, what about the last time you went out? Did you have a good time? How getting out of my pajamas would actually be a good step for me. So all of those things could be really, really helpful. And as an added bonus, I'd like to share a strategy for the what if questions that come up. So for example, the question I had right at the beginning, what if I embarrass her? So try to answer the what if. What if I do embarrass her? Well, she's an adult. She can talk to me about it if it really bothers her, which it might not. Or she might pause before she thinks about inviting me again. Or she'll invite me to things that are a smaller group, which works for me anyway. The chances are she's not going to stop being my friend if I look at proof and evidence. And it wouldn't be the first time that I had ever done anything embarrassing, and I survived it and she stayed my friend. So again, using that proof seeking to try to help out. So by trying to answer the what ifs, you are actually making it less scary for yourself. So now here's the invitation. I would like you to go out and try to do one social event and practice a couple of these disputations and just see what happens. And it can be as big or as small as you want. And there's two reasons for this. Number one, it helps you practice. And number two, the more proof you gather that it's not so scary and that you can be successful with it, the easier it actually gets. That's how we overcome phobias, unfortunately, is by confronting them. Anyway, the point is I believe in you and I know you can do it, and the more you practice it, the easier it will be. So yeah, we will talk at another time about how to sit with those uncomfortable emotions and the body sensations that come with it. So feel free to hit subscribe or like below to get more content like this. And until next time, please take care of yourself. And I know you can do this. Okay, if you have any questions at all, you can get a hold of us through our website, www.dochespsych.com. Bye for now.